When we can reconnect to past lives, when we can reconnect to the truth of our soul, we activate those forgotten superpowers that hold our ability to work on an energetic level.
Welcome to It's About Magic, a sanctuary for seekers, dreamers, and those curious about the deeper mysteries of existence. Hosted by an expert in bridging the practical with the magical in the realms of holistic counseling, archetypal wisdom, and the cosmic fairy realm, every week we give you practical tools, meditative exercises, and insightful guidance so you can unleash your magic and tap into the unlimited potential inside you.
Welcome back to It's About Magic. Today I would like to share another story about magic and where we find it not only in the mundane part of life, meaning nature and our interactions with other people, but also in the mystical side of life, in the unseen realms. These unseen realms I refer to when I talk about your forgotten superpowers, our forgotten superpowers, where we all hold this ability to connect to ourselves and each other through these invisible energies that exist. When you think of coincidences where you happen to have a thought or are reminded by someone that you haven't seen or talked to in years, and then you get an email or a message or a phone call from them. These are our energetic connections with what is unseen that we often write off to as coincidence. They are easily brushed aside and dismissed. But what I've found through my own experiences that these are not coincidences. These are us interacting with what is unseen and what is our natural birthright. This is our soul's wisdom, our energetic body's wisdom. Your soul came into this body in this lifetime to have the current experience that you are having right now. But prior to this, your soul has lived many different lives with many different experiences. In different schools of thoughts, whether you look at epigenetics or human design or any ancient spiritual teaching, you will find this similar belief about how we can bring forth memories and experiences from our past lives into this current life. At the root, you are an infinite being holding deep wisdom and knowledge from all of your past lifetimes. And just like you experience a traumatic event in this lifetime that can impact how you show up in the world, so can those events from your past lives, they can have an impact on how you feel in this current lifetime. So I would like to share today the lifetime when I first met the Fae. I regularly journey to different lives, dimensions, and timelines. I've done it mostly for fun and because it's very healing for me to do. I've learned and adapted my own way of this journeying through many different modalities and just a feeling that I had. This time I was shown when my soul first met the Fae, I was clearing and working with some deep emotions of pain, abandonment, rage, disappointment, and this inability to trust. And through using my breath, I moved these emotions and then journeyed into my sacred heart. It was here in my sacred heart space where I was immediately taken to witnessing myself as a cosmic being, meaning not of this earthly plane. I was from the stars, from a galactic realm. And in this lifetime, I was here on this earth exploring it, learning it, and enjoying it. And I was with many other galactic beings of the same race as me. Over the years, I have deduced that perhaps it was from the Lyran star system, but I honestly don't know much about the stars. I just know that I was from somewhere else. In this journey, what I noticed was there was this sudden, terrifying shock to the earth, where the earth went black. I had been walking along the earthly plane, enjoying it, taking in all of the different beauty that is available on Mother Earth. And suddenly it was as if someone turned out the lights. The lush greenness of the planet was destroyed in an instant. I was left somehow physically safe, but the sky turned to this velvet blackness that seemed to consume everything around me. I felt myself lying on my side with my cheek pressed against the rough ground. The ground was hard and uncomfortable, and I was completely shocked and terrified. I then remember looking up as this being who was me at some stage in a lifetime. And I could see a ship, a spaceship of a kind. I just could see the outline of it in the blackness, more like an energetic field around it. And that was my ride. Those were my people. And they were leaving. And they were leaving me behind. The devastation of that lifetime and agony as I was journeying it in this body now, but also back then, was palpable. Tears were physically streaming down my cheeks as I was remembering this past life. And I was full of rage and disappointment and sadness and confusion of why I would be left. That deep, deep wound of abandonment. While I can and have contemplated now what happened there in that timeline, in that lifetime, in the meditation, I had no idea. I had been left behind and I was absolutely terrified. And the earth looked like nothing it used to. Everything was destroyed around me. It was when the earth went black. Everything died. And I stumbled around for a bit. I can still remember this from this meditation. I stumbled around, but very quickly I couldn't see much. But it was like I was intuitively called to this big boulder. And as I walked around this boulder, what I saw was what we would perhaps call a gnome, this small human-like creature that stood in this shadow of this rock. And he beckoned me closer to the boulder and then showed me this entrance underground. And as I neared the entrance to the underground, another being that was very different from this gnome rose up closer. And she was Fae, but she didn't look like the Tinkerbell fairies that we see in movies, right? And that we assume are fairies. Those are one type of the fairy realm. But she was more energetic than human. It was as if her energy took form in however she wanted it to. And the way that it showed itself to me was this energetic expression of a tree, almost stick-like, almost like someone had put the fallen branches of a tree together. And this is how she showed herself to me. She welcomed me underground, and she said this is where we would all be safe, that this was a very scary time, and that I had been left behind, and they would make sure that I would be safe, and I was welcome to stay with them until my people returned. They told me in this journey that this was my first encounter with the fairy realm. And they took me in, they housed me, they fed me, and cared for me during this very devastating time for my soul. I spent this lifetime mostly underground in the earth when the earth was healing herself. The fairy realm, which I'll talk about in the next episode, is here to take care of the earth. And this was part of the work that I stepped into doing with the Fae, but as a soul from the cosmos. And so since then, I have lived many, many lifetimes with a very close relationship to the fairy realm. And they tell me that this is why I am working with them now in this lifetime, and why I have had this deep kinship with them since I was a child. When I had this experience, when I was shown this past life, the feelings of abandonment and loneliness and rage that I sometimes felt that cropped out of nowhere, I don't feel those anymore. It's like that remembering, that reconnection to what my soul is here to experience and what she carries with us, with me, was healed and brought forth to my present day memory so that I could work with that in this lifetime. When we can reconnect to past lives, when we can reconnect to the truth of our soul, we activate those forgotten superpowers that hold our ability to work on an energetic level. This to me is about anchoring in the mystical of the magic, remembering our power, and bringing it into the mundane.